Welcome to the replay. Today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on using our rice paper as well as using one of the decoupage napkins on an egg. So before we get started, I just want to make sure that this is feeding out. If you see this and you're on, let me know where you're watching from. Let me know if this is the first time that you've watched with us. But I want to jump into this. I had a couple questions. I think I'm going to do the rice paper on the roller first. So this is just a rolling pin. I usually like to find these either at thrift stores or sometimes you can find them at antique stores for a decent price. This is kind of a bigger one. I do have smaller ones, but the bigger ones seem to work the best for the rice paper because you don't have to do a lot of cutting. It rolls on there really nice and easy, and it's a super easy project. So we will do that one first. Let me get the bigger things out of the way that we won't be using until the next project. So for the rolling pin, obviously you're going to need your base, whatever you're using, and then the design that I have picked for this particular project is Matthew 6:26. Look at the birds of the air; they do not sow or reap, or stow away in barns, and yet my Father feeds them. So we're going to be using this design on the roller. Other things that you will need for this project is your Mod Podge. Obviously, we're going to be using a bigger brush for this since it is a bigger project. And I'm realizing I didn't wash it out very good. It's stiff. So you want a bigger brush to help you get it on there quicker. Then you're obviously going to want your water to rinse your brushes. And then for the ends, I like to paint the ends. And I forgot I was going to grab. I knew I was going to forget something. I'm going to grab some paint, use acrylic or chalk paint. I have a blue over here that I'm going to be using tonight on this crafting night. So I think I might actually just use this blue. So this is just a chalk paint I got from Walmart. So we'll use that so we can make the ends a little prettier. And then I also have some raffia that I'll be using. And I grabbed some ribbons as well that I'll be using to do for the ends. So as far as the roller, you really don't have to do a whole lot to prep. Generally, what I'll do is just make sure that there's no like price tag. If there's like a price tag sticky, you'll have to go ahead and get that off. But this one is really pretty clean, so I'm not going to do any prep to it. The other one I have, I did notice it has the price tag sticky stuff on it, so I'll have to get that off. This one doesn't really have any of that, so I don't have to worry about that. The other thing that you will want is a sanding block, and that's so we can finish the edges. If you don't have a sanding block, then you might want to cut your edging so that I gotta scoop this over a little bit. So that it lines up better. But you can see the graphic is going to go pretty much to the edge, so we don't have to do a whole lot to it. If we wanted to age the edge, we could, but we'll just kind of see how it turns out. So for this one, super easy. What we're going to do is just take our Mod Podge, and I'm just going to go ahead and do a thin line right down the center. And you'll want that to be wherever you want the main part of the design. Like if you're going to set it on a table, start there because we're going to start with the middle of the design and then we're going to work outward. And you'll just want to be using a thin coat of the Mod Podge in a nice little line. So again, and if you get some over on the ends, it doesn't matter because we're going to be bending those ends over anyway. So now that I have it, just like so, I'm going to figure out where I want kind of the middle. For me, this verse is kind of the main part of the design. So I'm going to put that kind of where I'm starting because I want that to be highlighted. So then I'm just going to take it and I want to see if I have it even. And I feel pretty good about that. So I'm just pushing it down so it will stick. So I have it straight. And then I'm just gonna lightly, well, you can actually, I'm not really doing it. With the rice paper, because it's a thicker paper, you don't have to be as gentle with it as you do with the tissue paper or the napkin. So I really am just kind of working it down. And then from there, we're gonna flip it back over. And then now we're just gonna work both sides of where we have it. So you can see it's on there. And we're just gonna keep applying the Mod Podge to the areas. And we're just gonna keep working it around. So again, this question came up on someone messaged me through the store. They had gotten the rice paper, but they hadn't used it before. And honestly, a rice paper is so much easier to work with than the napkins because it's not as delicate. So you don't have to you can play with it more, but not worry about it tearing. However, if you did want to use just sections of the graphic, it does tear really easily, like the napkin does. So you can use like those different techniques and just use pieces as well. All right, so I'm gonna keep working this around and just keep pushing it. And I just wanna make sure that I don't have any bubbles. We've got a little bit of wrinkles in here, and I'm just gonna work them out with my thumb. And I don't really mind the wrinkles on these because I feel like it gives it texture. But if you do mind them, go a little bit more slowly. But again, it gives texture, so I don't really mind. And just keep working. Oh, you'd wonder what the rice paper looks like that. So this is it. It's washi rice paper, which that's just the type of paper that it is. That we can print on. Because if it's that actual rice paper, it's too thin to print on. So this still has like the sheen of the rice texture, but we can print on it. So I'm going to come at it from the other side here. And again, I'm just dragging the long, that's why I like my little mustard jar, so I can just drag in the long rows of the Mod Podge. And just keep pointing it over here. And we're just working the same directions. We don't have any lines or bubbles in there. And you do want to get all the way up to that seam on the bottom. Ooh, rolling on me. And then I'm going to come back and keep pushing it this way so I can get out any air bubbles and push out any wrinkles. And just get it nice and sticky, or stuck, I should say. So then when you get to the seam, as again with the larger rollers, we still have some, this one can go a little bit further. You have to decide, do you want the top going, do you want the bottom under and the top over, which is probably what I'm going to do. That's why I didn't stick that one yet. Or do you want it the other way around? So I usually do the top of the graphic over the bottom of the graphic. That's just a preference, however you want to do it. These I list, I take it into my craft booth that I have in Mesa, and I resell them. And I just realized when I went in there, the last time they were all gone. And it was crazy because the couple that I had left were actually Christmas designs. And you know, I never know if Christmas is gonna sell when it's not Christmas, even though it's super cute. But it did, so I need to do more. So I can drop them back off. Okay, so I am gonna do my bottom of the design, so you can see this is upside down underneath, and then I'm gonna come back and do the top over the top of it. So again, just pushing down. I am using one, if not the most popular design today of the rice paper that sells is this one, and then there's another one with birds. I was gonna do two, but I think I just have time to do one. But this is another one that we have that is also, I'm trying to show you that way. Show you this way. That we have, which is considered the verse, considered the birds. This one's also very popular. And this one I did have one in my market, and it did sell. But I thought this one's more springy, so I went with it. Okay, so now we have like our little overlap here. and we're just gonna do the same thing, just another nice light layer, and we're gonna tack it down, get all the way up into that seam. And I'm going to flip it around so I can push it down all the way. And again. Now I probably should have, this is a definite seam, I probably should have cut that. Hindsight 2020. So I am going to lift this up a little bit, and I'm just going to take my scissors and come in. I have one of those paper cutters that cuts in a perfect straight line, but we'll just do it by scissors, just so we don't have that seam, the white seam going on it. The ones on the end we're going to sand off, so we don't have to worry about those. But this one is going to be a little bit difficult, so I just want to clean it up so that it blends better. Note to self, this would be easier if you did it when it was not already half stuck on the roller, but I always say you guys can learn from where I mess up on the video. I'm just gonna go with it. All right, so we're just cutting that off just so it's not, we want that white line on the back. There we go. So it's obviously still gonna have a seam, but it's just not gonna be as noticeable with the white line gone. There you go. And then this is going to be in the back anyway. When they put it on display, it's not going to be similar to this. So you're not going to see that seam because it's on the back. So this one does have a little bit of texture. Again, I'm fine with that because it adds to the whole piece. But the next thing that we're going to want to do is clean up these ends. So there's a couple ways that you can do it. You can go ahead and just fold it over, and we can age it, which is probably what I'm going to do, because again, it probably would have been best if I cut it all the way down, but I knew it was going to wrap around, so I don't get too hung up on it. You know what I'm actually going to do? Let's go ahead and sand it off. I think that's what I did last time. That's what I did last time. So I'm going to go ahead and just sand off the edge. This is why you need a sanding block. And then you can see what it's going to do is give it a more textured edge. And then we can go through and have some wax that we can add to it. And it'll just age it a little bit. So this is one of the reasons I don't cut it. Because if you'll notice, there is going to be like a little bit, because you'll never get it on like perfect. There is going to be a little bit of an edge there. And if you would cut it all the way off and you lose that, then you're left with an exact straight line at the end, which is not very forgiving. Right here, again, make sure when you're sanding that you're standing away from you, that you're not lifting up the design. And these sanding blocks I just get at Home Depot in the paint section. You could also use a fingernail file if you don't have a sanding block. It just takes a little bit longer because you don't have as much space to work with. All right, so I'm back around to all right, so we've got that all kind of edged. And then we'll do the other end. I think this is like the fourth or fifth one of these I've done now. When I look for them in antique stores, or if you can get them at the thrift store, that's the best. Usually they're the cheapest. Sometimes the antique stores won't stick it to you, but I won't pay more than $10. Ideally, I want $10 or less. Some of these I've gotten for like $7 if you find a vendor that has like a whole basket of them. But don't go paying like $20 or anything for these, unless you find one you absolutely love. But if you look around, you can find them generally $10 and under. And I do like finding them at the antique store and stuff because they do have like a little age. Like this one's beat up, it's got some cracks, so it has a little bit of personality. That's kind of what I was looking for. Now I have done the handles a couple different ways. I have done it where I've had a couple different kinds of paint, like a color, and then like a black or a white, so it's like an aged crackling. I've done them all solid colors. It depends on what your preference is or how you want the ends to look. You could also just leave it plain like this, and you know, as super cute as it is. I think we're going to go ahead and add some paint. So I am going to do, I think I'm going to do black, and then I'm going to put another color over it. So we might have to go back and forth between these projects here for a minute. So this is just the black Waverly. I just got this at Walmart. So I'm just going to go over the handle. The paintbrush has some, it's trying to come apart on me. So I just want to make sure for here, I am just going to go around the edge where the actual handle starts, not the rolly thing in the middle. So if you see, there's like this piece right here, I'm going to avoid that piece and just do the handle. I think it's time to get new brushes. These are going to lose the little brush part on me. All right, so I'm just edging it first, and then I can just drag the paint down. So I'll just do one handle to kind of show you. Ooh, wants to spin on me there. Okay, and then we'll just drag the paint all the way down. And I'm doing the black, and then I'm going to do a color over the top. So you can kind of see how it's going to look after we sand. We'll kind of rough it up and sand it after we get both layers. This one has two different spots for the handle turns. It turns on here, and then it turns on the end too. I do like this paint because it gives a good coat. Like we should only have to do one coat on this black, and then we'll be able to go through once it dries and do another coat. And I wouldn't get hung up about getting it all. If you have one of these, like this part is stationary, this is the only part that's moving, I wouldn't worry about jamming it in too far because it might stick, and then your handle won't move anymore. All right, gonna do the same thing. Make sure if you're touching the paint that you don't, your hands and fingers that have paint on it, you don't grab the roller part with your fingers. I've done that before, and then I paint on the actual rice paper, and it doesn't like to come off when you do that. So let me know in the comments if you have used the rice paper before, and if you have, what kind of projects have you done with it? I love using the what is it called? Like, it's not shiplap, like palette. Hey, Catherine. Like palette signs. It's really easy to work with on those too because you can cut it, and then you have the spaces that each palette piece. So again, it's just so much more forgiving than the actual napkins or decoupage tissue paper if you've used those before, because it is thicker. So if you're just starting out, a rice paper is a great place to start. And then you don't have to worry about tearing it, but if you want to tear it, you can. It goes on really smooth. Hey, Nona. Nona, let me know. I saw your comment earlier and I haven't gotten back to it. Did you get the email or the link for the new products that dropped today? So we have the brand new decoupage tissue, and we also have the stick and stitch designs that dropped today. And I know there were a couple of members that were saying they did not get the early email. So if you're still missing that, let me know. I can message you your code and give you the link. And everyone else should have got the email today, but everything has been wonky with technology as of late. Okay, so we've got both sides. I'll hold it up here. So you can see we've got both sides done. And our rice paper's on there, so that part is good. I'm gonna stick my black brush. Oh, no, you got one today. Okay, perfect. Perfect. I think my coffee ran out, guys. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, I just got these little dauber things today. I wanted to use those. Have anyone used these little daubers? I just got these today. I'm going to use it for antiquing. I'll use it today on this tutorial right now, and then when I do the bonus crafting night in the members group tonight, I'll be using it again for that project, which I'm so excited to dig into. I've had this project saved on my Pinterest board for like all month in anticipation to do it. But I can't wait. Oh, Nona, you need the discount code? Okay, when I get off of this, I will send you the discount code, sweetie, because you, I believe, are a member and about that. Oh, okay, so we've got our base color. Now we're going to go back in with blue. And I'm doing this because I want it to have kind of an age look. So I'm going to go and make sure this is dry. I missed a little spot of black on the end. You can see there, but we'll just put blue on it. No problem. So this is going to be a super light coat, because once it dries, I'm going to come back through and I'm going to rough it up with the sanding block so that the black. And there's a couple, you could do the crackling technique on this. I only have good results with the crackling technique when you use, and that's a technique where you use like an immerse glue that is watered down. And you have to apply everything like precisely in the right order at the right time before the glue dries. And I only have luck doing it on super flat surfaces. For some reason, all these rounded surfaces, I can't get it to work right. So I don't know, it's probably user error. This can be super sloppy because we're going to come back in and I'm going to rough it up. Basically, I just want to get the black coming through the blue. I've done this with a red and a blue. It works great. So if there's any spots that you don't like where the blue or the color looks, you can just rough it up when you do the sanding. What kind of paint? Okay, so this is just chalk paint that I get at Walmart today for this. And it's just, I like the flat look. I feel like it's easier to play with too. Okay, so that's probably a good enough coat. You can see it's not perfectly through. Like it's not perfectly covered all really thick. It's just enough to cover the black. When you rough it up, we'll be able to see that. So again, I'm just kind of going right up to the edge here. Just freehanding it. You could tape this if you want to be super precise. You all know I don't got time for that. Take this. When we do any of the painting in our house, my husband has designated me the painter because I can do the lines on the baseboard and the ceiling really quick. So that's the only time I paint or tape and I paint because I don't like doing it, but I'm faster than him, so I get nominated to do it. So when I'm crafting, I don't need no rules. I'm just gonna keep gonna freehand it. We'll fix it later, right? Okay, again, just doing a quick coat over everything. Doesn't need to be perfect. I do like these paints that Walmart has a ton of colors, and these really aren't bad. I want to say there was like this big is only like $5. But it's not the highest quality paint that you can get, of course, but we're just having fun. All right, I'm just gonna do a quick look and see if there's any other spots. When I age it with the sandpaper, I'm gonna age the spots that you would most likely see like a bunch of wear, like around this, probably around the ends. Like when you see like use stuff like this base part isn't really going to get wore off that much, where it's like this part is used. So I do want to kind of make sure the color's a little bit thicker in that area. Okay, I think we're good there. Let's see how we're doing. It is still drying, so we're going to put this aside. I will work on the bow. The ends that I'm going to do. And I think for this one, I'm just going to do 2 simple. Oh, it's like, where's my ribbon? I have it right here. I just have this ribbon that is just like a nice little kind of lacy ribbon. So I'm probably just going to cut. You see, you didn't see that. It's off camera. I literally just grabbed it by my hand and move it. I don't do that. All right, using my other hand. See, I get to talking. Pick up the middle where it's dry. All right, moving it over to the side a little bit. So what I was trying to do was move it so that I could get to the measuring strips that we have here, which I think you can see the bottom one here. So I just want to have 2 that are the same length. So I'm just going to measure those out. And I think I'm going to do the whole, what is this, 24 inches. Oops. All right, and then I'll do another one so I can have both ends. So I'm just using the first one outside. Measure the second one. And then we'll have that. It doesn't need to be perfect. Okay, so we have those for the ends, and I'm actually going to be tying them once it's dry. We'll kind of put those to the side. And then the other thing that I have is some raffia that I'm going to be in there as well. The other thing you could do is you could just take the bow now and glue it on there if you didn't want to tie it around the ends. But I'm going to go ahead and tie it around the ends just so it stays on there better. All right, let's see how we're doing. Are we almost dry? We're pretty close to being dry here. That's the only part that I see. There's a couple little blobs there that are... I have my husband's heat gun in here, but I don't use it often enough for let me keep it in here, and so I have to take it to the garage. So I didn't go and get it today. What we can do is, let's go ahead and do the edges while we're waiting for that. So again, this is just the chocolate paint, again from Walmart. This one is Cafe Noir. I'm not even saying that right. But it's funny because I thought this was the wax, so I bought a smaller one. And I thought the other one was the color, so I bought a big one. And they were the opposite. This is the color, and so now I have a giant thing of wax that will probably take me a lifetime to use. And if the top of your paint jars don't look like this, are you even a crafter? Am I the only one? All right, so we've got that, and what I want to do is I'm going to pour. I have a stuff set up for tonight already, so I'm just peel the plate that I was going to use tonight. Because I don't want to dump this whole thing in there. I just want a little bit. Like, we barely need any. In fact, I'm going to cheat. This is why you keep popsicle sticks by candy. Because we seriously just need a teeny tiny bit. But these are nice. Again, I just got these on Amazon. So I thought they'd be super fun. So I'm just going to put it in there. And I don't want a ton on there, so I'm just getting it to where I want it. But I'm just going to use this around the edge very lightly. And I'm just kind of trying to mask that line. So you can see that we had this line before. Trying to get it to focus there. And then it would be just this on. It's just going to soften that a little bit. And then as the paint runs out, you just got to push a little bit harder. But basically, this is my way of camouflaging that at the end of it. Before I had the little dauber things, I was using it, and I just feel like it was going on way too thick. So I saw someone else using these, and I was like, I'm going to try those. And you could go up a little bit higher if you want. I'm going to just kind of to blend it in a little bit more. There we go. So you can see like that's a nice, more of a finished edge. Then this is kind of where we started with this edge. So we're going to do the same thing to the other side. I'm not going to lie, this little dauber thing might be my new favorite thing. Anything that can help clean up an edge and hide your little mini mistakes is a win in my book. Let me know if you guys have used these daubers. I know there's probably different kinds. Personally, anything that you can just wash and throw away, or throw away instead of washing, is also a win in my cup. All right, so we just made it all the way around, just taking it a little higher in some spots. Oh my gosh, I love a dauber. I'm a dauber fan. Okay, now we should be pretty dry here. So we're going to go through and take our, and then you want to kind of go lightly. It is going to go all the way through the wood, and I'm fine with that. If you don't want it that far, then definitely go lighter. But basically, I'm just trying to rough it up. And if this grit is too much, what you can do is switch out and use a tile. Let me grab them. If you want like a finer, you could go through, you can see like with the fingernail file, you're going to get kind of the same, or a little bit of a different, it helps if I do it on camera so you can see it. You're going to get a different grain. So you can kind of see the black is peeking through a little bit. And again, I like to rough it up in the areas that you would most likely get wear from using it. Drag it a little bit more on the inside there. So you kind of just keep working it until you get like the look that you like. I kind probably get rough. So I'm going to probably go with that. So you get like a nice little edge. Okay. Oh, Liz says she uses the daubers when making cards. Uses them on the edges of the paper or die cut. That's so smart. Again, I just love how it blends the edges of that. And then we have another commenter. They use the daubers to distress the edges of the cards. Okay, so maybe these are something that are used in cards a lot. I just happened to see somebody using them and I was like, that looks so handy. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it. I'll distress the other one here. I do want to get onto the eggs. But I'm just going to go ahead and tie this up as close as I can to the top, and I do it from the front so I know what it's going to look like. And then I'm going to take some of the rice raffia as well. I kind of want more length. I'm just going to put that around as well. Actually, I'm going to tie them together. I'm going to undo that because it will be easier to manage if they're all in the same. I'm grabbing them all together. There we go. Like I said, you could do the bows or whatever you want separate and then tack them on. The hard part is just getting it right up to the edge, and you kind of want it to fall in between where the roller doesn't roll on you. Makes sense? Okay, so the raffia is going to be a smaller bow, and then we're going to pull the ribbon through a larger bow. I can get the right size here. Here's my tail. Oops, I gotta come in and redo. I got one super short tail and one really long tail. All right, let's center it better this time. All right. You do want to make sure that you kind of have the same on both ends so you don't run out of ribbon when you're trying to make it. All right, getting it back up in there. Okay, just pin it tight. And now I'm going to go back to the bow again. And then with the right raffia, you can just cut off wherever you have your little stragglers. And then I'm just kind of separating. For this one, I probably should have had a longer ribbon so that I could have longer tails. We'll just, oh, I'm sorry. I can't see what I'm doing here. Because I do have the one tail that's kind of short. But rather than redo it, I'm just going to put this other one so it's short too. So that would be kind of what it looks like. So I would do both ends. I'm going to move on to the eggs. I just wanted to show you all the here so you can see. Then we would do the same thing on this end. So it had two bows, and then I need to distress this end. But that's basically just an example of using the rice paper, using a little distressing, and then you have a super cute rolling pen that you can display on your table or resell. But these are so easy. I do not finish these. You could refinish them. I definitely would need to wait for the ink to dry, but for the ones I sell, I haven't refinished any of them because they are for display. So you don't have to worry about it. It's not like it's going to be used. So that is the rice paper rolling pen.